this is Greg with Lionquestfitness. Today, we're going to talk about the Azula holsters. So let's look at some of them and let's talk about them. Now you see Azula holsters periodically in my videos. And as you saw from the avatar, I do have quite a few of them. They're made in South Africa. They're made of buffalo hide. And they're not the least expensive holster, but definitely not the most expensive. And they do make pretty sturdy holsters. So let's look at them one by one. Now the first one we showed, this is for a K-frame 4-inch revolver. And once again, with a cover garment, it's easy to conceal. It rides close to the body, so you've got retention. You also have this band across the front, which does cause the gun to grab just a wee bit, but does help with some retention and holding it into the holster. The ironic thing is, when it's not belted on, you would think that it doesn't hold the gun. Now you can see it holds it in close to the body, and it holds the gun in very well. It retains it very well. However, you do need a thick belt for these holsters. Also, it might not work as well as with dress pants of a thin, flimsy, or shorts of a thin, flimsy material, because it might pull the belt up. Now, this holster was one I got for a officer model 1911, which I no longer have. But it still works very well for my Star BM9. And even though it's not quite made for this gun, it holds it and retains it very well. Have you ever had to send one back, Greg? Yes, one time I did. And this holster is for 2-inch K-frame revolver, although it does work well for this 2.5-inch Model 66. And I did have to send this back because the holster they sent me was sized very odd. I sent them a picture of one of my 2-inch snubs in it, and they agreed, yes, something's wrong with that holster, and they replaced it with this one. So they do have good customer service. Now, are the holsters versatile? Absolutely. Now, this holster was for a 3-inch bull-barreled Model 36. But when I had an SP-101, which is a very good gun, and I sold it to a good friend of mine at a cost to me, but I knew he wanted it. But I used to use this holster for the SP-101, and that is the 2 1/4-inch version, and it worked very well for that gun. Also, this holster here, I often use this same holster, either, this is Taurus 605, but also use this holster for the 856 and also for my Smith & Wesson 640. Now, one of the things I like, and I've already mentioned it, but Azula holsters ride close to the body. And this right here, this was originally one I bought for my GP 100 and 3-inch. But regrettably, not really regrettably, I did it for a reason, but I gifted my GP 100 to a good friend of mine when he moved to another church to pastor. And I saw how much he really liked it, and I knew he really, at the point in time, he couldn't afford to buy a GP 100, so I gave it to him. But anyway, it also works well for my Henry Big Boy revolver. And this is the gun that I carried as a sidearm when I was deer hunting this past fall. And with this holster, it was easy to conceal underneath my jacket. And with 357, hey, if I had to deal with coyotes or feral hogs, I should be okay. So, Greg, has it always been peaches and cream with Azula holsters? Well, no. I did find out they do make some dogs. Now, this looks like a nice holster, but originally it was one of their paddle holsters. I ordered 2 of them. I found that the paddles were extremely uncomfortable to wear, and the guns or the holster stuck way out. And so I had a leather crafter, leathersmith, I'm not sure what you would call it, and I had him put this, take the paddle off, put this loop on, so at least I could use this as a range holster. So Azula holsters, they're relatively economical, they're very sturdy, they got decent customer service, and they look good. And this is Greg with Lionquest Fitness.